You are Locked On Mets Postcast, part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The New York Mets pick up a gigantic victory in the first of a three-game series with the Philadelphia Phillies, but concerns about Francisco Lindor. Welcome in to the Locked On Mets postcast. I am your host, Chris Schubert. Hope you are all having a fantastic Friday. The New York Mets started a very important stretch of games in style with a big 11-3 victory, a lot of home runs, a dominant performance from Jose Quintana, and of course, Francisco Lindor leaving this game with lower back soreness. We will get to it all here on this edition of Locked On Mets postcast. But today's episode brought to you by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB to win $50 instantly when you play $5. And we have to start with the unfortunate news that is somewhat still up in the air as we are recording this Mets postcast, and that is Francisco Lindor leaving this game in the seventh inning with what the team is describing as lower back soreness. He tried to stretch a ball in the gap into a double, kind of overran the base, tried to continue his run, and fell to the ground. And he fouled a ball off of his foot during the at-bat. So before we knew it was lower back soreness, the broadcast was attempting to put together what it could possibly be. They showed that. They showed the play at the base, and then we learned that it was lower back soreness. And I wonder, and I'm wondering aloud here with all of you that are listening to this postcast, if he just didn't feel 100%, and Carlos Mendoza looked at the scoreboard, saw what the score was, saw where they were in the game, and said, you know what? This is an opportunity that I'm probably not going to get a lot of down the stretch with 15 games to go on the calendar. Let me get my guy off his feet for 3 innings. He's kind of not feeling great. Let me get him started on potentially relaxing a little bit ahead of a game tomorrow. And it's one of the worst answers you could potentially give when podcasting or doing a live show like this. We don't know. Maybe we'll hear from Carlos Mendoza after the game. So if you see my eyes averting over here to the left, we're keeping an eye on social media channels to see what Carlos Mendoza says. And if we learn something, I will try to bring it to you here during this postcast. But a sort of sour note after the Mets they took it to the Philadelphia Phillies in this game. Again, an offensive explosion, a dominant performance from Jose Quintana, but the Francisco Lindor news lingers over all of this as we await to find out how serious this is and if he is going to miss any time. But a very nice victory for this team to start a weekend series with the Philadelphia Phillies. And you begin to wonder if he does miss some time, what this could mean. It's probably going to mean a lot of Jose Iglesias at shortstop. Eddie Alvarez came into the game to play second base when they made the defensive substitution in the seventh inning. And again, we're wondering aloud here. This is kind of on the fly. It's the nature of these postcasts, but I do wonder, there's a guy sitting on the 40-man roster that could play the infield, and it's putting a kid in a really tough spot. But I wonder if Francisco Lindor would have to go on the injured list and would have to miss some significant time if this team would consider a promotion of Luis Angel Acuna to be on this team and to maybe provide a little bit of a spark and play every day at second base for this team. Again, that's probably the most high-profile option that they could have on this team. And I just don't know, with 15 games to go, if their MVP candidate has to be sidelined, if this team can run out Iglesias and Eddie Alvarez and expect that to get it done for the remainder of the season. So we await word from Carlos Mendoza. Like I said, we've got Twitter on deck here. It is on one of my other monitors, so we'll keep an eye on it here as the show progresses to see if we learn anything from Carlos Mendoza about Francisco Lindor and what this means. The severity of it, we just don't know. They just refer to it as lower back soreness. And again, there are two ends of the spectrum. There's the end of the spectrum where Carlos Mendoza saw this as an opportunity. His guy maybe not feeling totally right after a weird play at second base. We've got a big lead. Let me get ahead of this. Let me make sure this doesn't get worse. And let me get him off his feet for a couple of innings. And he can start the process of getting some rest, getting back to the team hotel maybe a little bit ahead of time, and can, take the rest of the night off, relax, and we'll see what it looks like tomorrow to see if he's in the lineup. But look, this is going to be a very weird 24 hours because I think all of us Mets fans are going to be holding our breath, waiting to see what this lineup card looks like tomorrow. And there's a lot to discuss from this game tonight. But unfortunately, despite the Jose Quintana effort, despite the offensive explosion and a lot of key guys in this lineup providing some pop tonight, you just keep coming back to what is happening with Francisco Lindor, and will we get some bad news tonight, or will it be crisis averted? They just looked at it as an opportunity to get him off his feet after feeling something after the play at second base. And it was a weird play. He didn't slide into second base, but they missed the tag after he tried to stretch a single into a double and then continued the run and then fell. So it looked like when he planted his right leg into the second base bag, his back kind of turned a little bit. And you wonder if he hurt something there. And then ultimately when he made the turn and tried to run towards third base, he fell. Could have done something there. We just don't know at this point what ultimately happened. So we are awaiting word from Carlos Mendoza about Francisco Lindor. And look, if this team is without their MVP, what was already a tough 15-game stretch to the rest of the way is only going to get tougher, and it is going to require a lot of this team to step up. A lot of the guys that stepped up tonight that we're going to talk about here in a little bit, those guys are going to need to step up. So we're monitoring it. We're going to keep an eye on it here over the course of this podcast. Thank you for joining us here after the Mets pick up an 11-3 victory in this game tonight over the Philadelphia, a game that would never end. I mean, despite the injury to Francisco Lindor, you're kind of kicking your feet up, relaxing after this game becomes a blowout. Okay, you can have a nice drink on a Friday night, watch the baseball game, no stress, where there's going to be a lot of stress over the remainder of the 15 games. Then you get Francisco Lindor getting hurt. That adds a little stress to you. And then the end of the game just never ends. And they're able to get a 3-run home run, courtesy of Brendan Marsh, to get the shutout off the board. But a game that would never end, but a game that the Mets were in full control of here. Once they were able to get some runs on the board, and they never looked back, and a game that they need every one of these down the stretch. So very important to go to Philly with all of this pressure that is on this team and to perform like this. So we will talk about the offensive explosion. We will talk about the big home run night, the big power surge from this team here in just a second. When life gets busy, fitting in a workout can be stressful. With Tonal, you can get efficient workouts personalized just for you and are available with the amount of time that you have. Even the most dedicated gym goers struggle with consistency, the commute, waiting for weights, other people's sweat. It makes skipping a workout very tempting. With Tonal, you can choose from thousands of workouts and train in a way you actually enjoy at home. Tonal is the world's smartest and most efficient strength training system that helps get you stronger, powered by AI. Tonal learns with every rep so it can deliver workouts personalized just for you. It's just like having a personal trainer at home with you, as Tonal will optimize every workout just for you. From professional athletes to the mom of three, Tonal is trusted by thousands who have become their strongest. Right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Tonal.com, and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $200 off your purchase. That's Tonal.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $200 off. All right, let's talk about this offensive explosion. And you didn't necessarily feel that way when the game started. Aaron Nola dominating for the first 4 innings, and you thought to yourself, oh my goodness, here we go again. Just the way it happened in the final game of the Toronto Blue Jays series with Bowden Francis taking a no-hit bid into the 9th inning. You thought to yourself, man, this team, their offense has to carry them. They have to find some momentum on offense. And yeah, they had that great 9th inning, but there's been a lot of miscues. There's been a lot of missed opportunities. And you felt very similarly tonight. Aaron Nola had this team confused. I mean, I wrote down here, and I know on the Locked On Jets postcast, which I do here for the Locked On Sports Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel, which, by the way, if you're not following, you're not subscribed here, please go ahead and do so. Turn on that notification bell so you know when we go live for postcast for Mets, Jets. We got the Knicks coming soon, Giants, you name it. We've got it here on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel. Myself and Jay Berman got you covered each and every day after your New York teams play. I talked about this on my Locked On Jets postcast. I got a book here. We keep notes throughout the game. So you're going to see me consult this book, and you see all of the notes that we have from this game. And I had in the 3rd inning written down the Mets are struggling with Nola. And then in the 4th inning, Mets are lost, as Aaron Nola retired 10 straight batters. And you felt as if it was going to be another night very similarly to the way the series ended against the Toronto Blue Jays, with just struggle after struggle, inning after inning. And Nola had them confused with that fastball. They were just not expecting it. Took a lot of called third strikes, a lot of bad swings. Harrison Bader had one. But then it opened up. in the 5th inning. Started with a Tyrone Taylor single. I believe the count was 0-2 when he was able to put a ball in play after Iglesias got on base. A really good at bat there. And then what appears to be a breakout. What appears to be a guy who has found his swing at the absolute best time. Francisco Alvarez turns on a ball on the inside part of the plate, and he just keeps it fair, just keeps it inside the line, bounces it off the netting of the foul pole, and instantly the Mets have a 3-0 lead before they could even think about it. And they were cruising. And you can see the energy that Francisco Alvarez had when he was able to just keep that ball inside the foul pole there, hitting the netting. And it was over from there. Nimmo took his turn with a 3-run home run to make it 6-0. And the Mets were cruising from there on. They were able to add a Lindor RBI in the 6th. Pete hits a home run in garbage time, and Harrison Bader also adds a 3-run homer as well. But I think Francisco Alvarez and Brandon Nimmo are the two names you really want to keep an eye on because if those two guys' bats pick up, and they do miss Francisco Lindor for a little bit of time. And again, we're keeping an eye on it here on the broadcast here as we do this post-game show. Having Francisco Alvarez and having Brandon Nimmo start to turn a corner a little bit, that's good. That's going to be nice. And I'm reading some quotes here from Carlos Mendoza. Says he's not really concerned with Francisco Lindor's back injury. Quote, it's day-to-day. I'm pretty sure he's going to tell me to put him in the lineup tonight. We'll see. But again, the day-to-day with the back. But Carlos Mendoza is saying he's not really concerned and said that if it were a closer game, he was going to fight that one. It's day-to-day. I'm pretty sure he's going to want me to put him in the lineup, end quote. So Carlos Mendoza saying it's day-to-day, but saying that if this was a closer game, that Francisco Lindor was going to try to push his way into staying in that game. So we'll see. We'll see what a night off does. We'll see what being able to get back to the team hotel, and we'll see how he wakes up in the morning, and we'll just wait to see what that lineup looks like. But all right, back to the offense, and Francisco Alvarez and Brandon Nimmo with two big 3-run home runs. And man, Francisco Alvarez, the big home run in the game on Wednesday against the Toronto Blue Jays, and another big 3-run homer tonight in this game. 2 for 4, the 3 RBIs. Again, just swinging a hot bat at a big time, right? 3 for 10 in the series against the Toronto Blue Jays and against an opponent. And I hope this isn't lost on everybody when they watch this series. The magnitude of these games for the Mets in the playoff race, I don't think is understated. But there is so much pressure against these teams when you're playing the Phillies for 7. You know you've got 3 against the Braves. You know you've got 3 against the Brewers. These games, they just even more so because you're playing a good team. You're playing the team that's winning the division. You're playing a team that has one of the best records in all of baseball and in the National League is considered one of the contenders. It amps up even more. It's a division rival. It's a team that you hate, and it just turns it up a little bit more. And this team answered. They responded. Aaron Nola had them confused in the early part of this game, but this team, they do not lose focus. They stay concentrated on the matter at hand. The pressure doesn't seem to faze them. They just get it done. And Francisco Alvarez and Brandon Nimmo got it started with those back-to-back 3-run homers that put this team up 6-0. Harrison Bader seems to be swinging a little bit of a better bat right now. That's a nice thing to see. Iglesias 2 for 5. You like to see him putting together some ABs because it certainly looks like if Lindor is going to miss some time, Iglesias is going to be moving all over the diamond here the remainder of the season. But again, just a really nice thing to see Francisco Alvarez get hot, a home run in back-to-back series here, ending the Toronto series and then starting this series off in a big way. So you just love to see this offense come through here because they're going to need it. They're going to get quality starting pitching, especially with what we've seen as of late. We'll get into Jose Quintana's dominance, and he did something that he hasn't done in a really long time in tonight's performance. So we'll talk about that here in just a second. But an offense that can do that can back up the starting pitching, it's just going to feed itself. The pitching is going to be freed up because they know the offense has their back. The offense is going to feel a little bit freed up because they know the type of pitching that they're getting right now. And it is just a confidence thing that feeds either side. And when you build that confidence, when you build that momentum this time of year, you're a runaway train and you are a team that other teams are going to fear. This is not, and I know it's weird to think about it, New York Mets are currently in a battle to chase down the wild card. But this is a team that since the end of May is playing the best baseball in all of baseball. They are putting together a record that nobody is matching. So this is a team that for a very large stretch has been the best team in baseball. And so I know going into the series with the pressure, the only having a 1-game lead, you're uneasy, you're a little nervous. This is a really good baseball team. This is a baseball team that everything is clicking right now. And it certainly looks, though, as if they avoided disaster with Francisco Lindor. They might try to find him a day off, especially after a win. You feel like you take one in this series against Philadelphia. You probably did your job. You're not going to be able to sweep this team. They're a really good baseball team. So you take one, you look to just get one of the next two to potentially win the series. So probably frees up Mendy a little bit to try to find Lindor maybe a day off and say, listen, let me get you a day off. Let me sit you down. We'll get you in there on Sunday. Just take 24 hours and let's get back on the horse because I need you, not just for today's game or tomorrow's game. I need you for the rest of the season. And so I'm going to take this one day and potentially get you off your feet. But this offense, man, just a huge breakout performance tonight. And everybody contributed. I mean, you had everybody had a hit in the starting lineup except Eddie Alvarez, who came in as a pinch hitter, but Lindor with 2 hits, Vientos 1 for 5, Nimmo, Alonso with 2 hits, including the home run, Iglesias. Everybody had a hit in this game that started in the lineup. And when you're doing that and you're getting the type of pitching that this team is getting, look out, because I think this team is, like I said, a runaway train, and they are a team that is going to cause problems for a lot of people. Okay, again, wanted to lead with this. Wanted this to be the thing we talked about first. He was in the thumbnail. I put him in the thumbnail before the game. So the thumbnail curse, it's gone. At least for the pitching side, it is gone. Jose Quintana with a fantastic start tonight. And I wanted to start with it, but so many other things happened that we kind of had to bury it here in the final segment of the postcast. But we are going to talk about the fantastic performance from Jose Quintana and how he did something tonight that he hasn't done in 2 years here in just a second. PrizePicks, you're going to want to download the app. You see it down there at PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active users. The easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. PrizePicks, the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy so that your lineup stays in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, PrizePicks, your picks are still live. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. FanDuel. Football, it's back, baby. We're going to have a Locked On Jets postcast here on Sunday after they take on the Titans. Jay Berman's going to have you covered on the Locked On Giants side of things, and you're probably just as excited about football as I am. And you've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, but we've got a little something different for you now. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. So you put some bets in on FanDuel, you're going to get a 3-week free trial of Sunday Ticket. You can follow your bets on the Sunday Ticket here for the next 3 weeks. We got to make sure you get in ahead of September 22nd. Just visit FanDuel.com. Download America's #1 sportsbook. All right, let's talk about it. The fantastic performance from Jose Quintana, who just when you thought he might be a problem, just when you thought he might be the weak link in a rotation that could not afford to have a weak link, Jose Quintana has gone out over his last 4 starts, 25 1/3 innings pitched over his last 4 starts, 1 earned run. That is ace-type stuff. That is dominant-type stuff. That is the type of stuff that the New York Mets, when they originally signed Jose Quintana, they dreamed of. They dreamed of a veteran pitcher who has been in playoff races before, who has been in these types of environments before, giving them a start like that in this type of game. We can be honest here. We're all amongst friends here on the Locked On Mets postcast. And by the way, you can get even more thoughts on the Locked On Mets podcast each and every day here on the Locked On Network. Even more thoughts from Ryan Finkelstein about Francisco Lindor's injury. He'll know more by the time tomorrow's episode comes out. So you're going to want to make sure that you are subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. But Jose Quintana was brought here for this kind of start. And again, we can be honest, we're amongst friends here. When you looked at Jose Quintana, even though he's been pitching well as of late, and you saw Aaron Nola on the other side, you were a little concerned. You just didn't think that this was a advantageous situation for the New York Mets. But guess what? Jose Quintana matched Aaron Nola blow for blow over the first 4 innings until his offense could get him a 6 spot. And you want to talk about a veteran pitcher coming through when he absolutely needed it to. You get 6 runs in the 5th inning, and you're sitting for a while, and you're playing a really good baseball team. It is so important for that following inning when your pitcher goes out there after sitting for a long time, sitting for the longest that he sat. He's got a big lead. You know he's certainly thinking about it. You got to go out there and shut down the other team. And that's exactly what Jose Quintana did. He didn't allow the Phillies to think for even a moment they were getting back into this baseball game tonight. 6-0 lead, veteran pitcher goes back out there, dominates in his part of the 5th inning and says, you know what? You're not getting back into this baseball game. Not on my watch. It is not happening. What a pivotal moment in this baseball game. Yeah, you spot 6 runs to your pitcher. That's what you want to do. But to just immediately say, nope, you're not even getting a hint of a rally. You're not getting anybody near third base. You're not getting anywhere near scoring a run. That is what a veteran pitcher who just has been around the block, in Jose Quintana's case, a couple of times, goes out and does. And you could not have asked for a better performance tonight from Jose Quintana. 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts. And look, it was a weird recipe. It was a recipe that when Nola was kind of matching him in the first 4 innings, you felt like it could go sideways. A lot of hard hit balls, but stuff hit at people. Pete with a big defensive play in the 1st inning. You kind of thought, okay, here we go. We're going to get the defense behind Jose Quintana. Some hard hit balls at outfielders that were just positioned perfectly. And he gives you 7 scoreless innings. And again, 25 1/3 innings pitched over his last 4 starts, 1 earned run. So just a masterclass from Jose Quintana. Just played to his strengths. Put the ball in play, trust your defense behind them. You don't have to overpower, mix and match. And he just kept the Phillies off balance and found a way to get the ball hit to his defenders right where they were for a nice, solid 7-inning shutout performance from Jose Quintana. And this is his first start since 2022. Shout out to Anthony DiComo, who tweeted this after Jose Quintana got taken out of the game. The first start for Jose Quintana with 0 runs allowed and 0 walks since 2022. You can say it. His best start as a New York Met. The best start we have seen from Jose Quintana when you consider the magnitude, when you consider the importance, when you consider the opponent, when you consider everything about this game in this spot. It is Jose Quintana's best start as a New York Met. And what was maybe a month ago a concern, what was maybe a month ago, do we have enough starting pitching outside of Manaya, outside of Severino, outside of the current version of David Peterson? Were they going to get enough? Was Jose Quintana's spot in the rotation a certainty? Guess what? Over the last 4 starts, Jose Quintana showed you exactly why he is in this rotation, exactly why this Mets organization brought him in to pitch in games like this, in spots like this, and put together performances like that. 7 innings, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, and 4 strikeouts. Just a dominant performance from Jose Quintana. Didn't try to do too much, did exactly what you expected of him. And the New York Mets get a series opening victory in dominant fashion, 11-3. It certainly looks like they at least dodged a major bullet with Francisco Lindor. We will see what the lineup looks like tomorrow. And again, you'll get all those thoughts when more information comes out on the Locked On Mets podcast tomorrow. That is going to do it for us here on what was a wild night for the New York Mets. The offense comes in a big way. We have the Francisco Lindor injury. Looks like we avoided disaster there, and another big performance from Jose Quintana. So the New York Mets need victories, need series victories. They're looking for 6 series wins in a row, I believe. And so they've got the next 2 days to go ahead and try to find one more victory here against the Philadelphia Phillies. Luis Severino on the mound tomorrow. David Peterson going to close it out on Sunday for this team. So you get 1 victory over the next 2 days. You feel really good about where this team is at. And they started it off in a big way tonight, made a statement that they are the team that has the best record in all of baseball since the end of May. They are not just a team that's stumbling around in a wild card race. They are a team that you should take seriously, and they are a team that if they continue to play this way, I do not think there are going to be teams that are going to want to face them in the playoffs. So that's going to do it for us. Please subscribe if you haven't to the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel. We've got a lot of coverage here for you each and every day after your New York teams are done. I am back again, I believe on Sunday, We've got Mets action. We've got Jets action. So I will have you covered there if you are so inclined to join me for the post show for Locked On Jets. But again, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, like, comment, do all of the things so that you know when we are here on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel. But that's going to do it for us here on this edition of the Locked On Mets postcast. A 11-3 victory for the New York Mets. It's on to tomorrow with Luis Severino. That's going to do it for us. I'll talk to you guys later.